Hello, friends. I thought this week that I would just drop this episode in your inbox rather than a written post. It's been a while since I've recorded anything, and I don't know, it just kind of felt like maybe you might like it. I have heard from some of you that you listen to the posts, and I think that's interesting. Because I don't know what that voice sounds like. I don't think I chose one. But I do know, because I've done a little research, that uh, people, especially, honestly, it turns out women in midlife listen to a lot of their content because guess what? They're on the go, which totally makes sense. And that's something else I'm talking about today because I think we've gotten something wrong about midlife women. There's, the way that we talk about them as if just totally exhausted and burned out and running on empty. And I'm not dismissing that is a widespread feeling because of everything going on, but just hear me out. Because here's the thing, the women I work with, the women I'm friends with, the women I observe around my communities, online, what have you, the less I'm convinced that exhaustion is actually the problem. Because when I look around, I do not see women who have run out of energy. I see the opposite. I see women running companies, raising children, taking care of their aging parents, holding marriages together, managing households, showing up for everyone who depends on them. That is not a low energy woman. That is a woman with a tremendous amount of life force. So when she tells me she's feeling flat or uninspired, or like something has just like gone quiet inside of her, I don't think exhaustion is the right answer. I think actually we've been asking the wrong questions. The question isn't where did the energy go? The question is where is it pointing? Another question is where did the desire go? And in all fairness, I'm just going to speak to you like I'm talking to you and not women in third person. Don't feel like you're being targeted or that this is accusatory. You didn't choose this life, right? The direction your energy takes was really never up for discussion. It's basically a default into obligation, into caregiving, into being useful, and making everyone else's needs, being sure that those are met before you ever get to your own. And underneath all of that running and managing and showing up, something's shifting. You've gotten so good at everyone else's needs that you kind of aren't aware of your own. You can't even really hear them anymore. And it's not because you don't have them, and it's not because desire has left. It's because you're not able to hear it. I mean, when was the last time you did something purely because it delighted you? Not to recover because you've been, or so that you can be more productive, not to be a better version of the roles that you're in, but just because you wanted to, because it felt good to be alive in that way. When I ask my clients this, or even my friends, when I sit down with them, that question lands somewhere a little tender because most of the time they don't remember. And that doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It actually has nothing to do with your age. That's what happens when all of your energy is flowing outward and none of it's coming back. There's no energy flowing back. Your desire didn't disappear. It's just gone underground. I don't know if any of you remember this. If you've been following me, then you might remember that around 2021, I did a podcast episode about wanting to live an erotic life. And then last year I wrote about it again because it's something I keep coming back to. It's something that I continue to intentionally place myself in this erotic life. And then because I'm a human and because I'm a woman and those obligations and those responsibilities, I forget. And then so I have to remind myself. So I'm back to talk more. I'm not back. I'm bringing that back up because I want to talk more about it and really reinforce this concept and this idea. And before I get into that, I always like to remind people that eros is not an erotic life. It's not strictly about sex. It certainly has something to do with that. But what I'm talking about is like the full presence and contact with your own life. I'm talking about the feeling the warmth and tasting the warmth of your coffee. I'm talking about noticing the light on your lover's face, or hearing your child laugh in a certain way that your whole body just feels that. I am talking about when you're working out and you can feel that drip of sweat on the back of your leg. Like, I'm talking about those conversations you're having with the people you love, and they're so charged and they feel so real because they are. And I'm talking about moving through your life and actually living it in those moments, right? So there are 3 words that I come back to all the time in this with this theme. One is life force, the other is eros, erotic life, and then the third is aliveness. So let me just break these down for you. Life force is your vitality. It's your energy. It's your capacity to show up, to create, to feel, to want things. And like I said, y'all have a lot of it. You have so much of it. The issue is not supply. The issue is direction. Eros, eroticism, that is your desire, right? That's the force that's pulling you toward what feels alive to you, towards what's beautiful and interesting and worth your attention. The part of you that says, I want to learn a new language. I want to take that trip. I want to spend an afternoon doing nothing useful and feel completely good about it. Eros is what makes you lean toward your own life. Aliveness is what happens when those two connect. When the energy you have is moving towards something you genuinely desire. Not something you should do, something that makes you feel like, yeah, I'm alive. Holy shit, it's good to be here. So life force is the energy, eros is what's moving it towards, and aliveness is what you feel when those two connect. I know most of you are probably familiar with Mama Gina, Regina Thomashauer. I'm a huge fan. And she talks about erotic living and turn on, what have you, in a way that it sticks with me. I really value the message she's delivering. And I'm going to paraphrase on some of what I was hearing her say the other day, which is women have this innate capacity to turn on at any moment, not sexually, but just fully, to life, to themselves, to what's right in front of them. And she's right. That capacity is wired into you. What's happened is that it's been conditioned out of you. You are conditioned to look away from it, to turn it down so low that you eventually stop hearing it. And so this turn on she's describing isn't dramatic, right? Like, again, coming back to this eros, it is as simple as getting dressed up to go out, looking in the mirror, and taking a selfie and sending it to your friend. And then your friend sends back like all the hype and you are feeling that. I don't know about you, but I've realized in my 46 years, I have more fun. I'm more excited and turned on by getting ready to go out than when I'm actually out. I don't know. There's no way I'm alone in that. Like, I legit have way more fun doing that part. That's the moment I'm most alive. And that's what she's talking about. That, like, that flicker, that small yes in you, it's aliveness in its most ordinary form. And we've been taught to just brush past those moments. But those are the breadcrumbs back to you and what you want. And I think this is where women find themselves stuck. You've spent decades becoming extraordinarily good at reading the room, everyone around you, your children's needs, your partner's wants, your boss has expectations. You can walk in a room and within minutes, you know what's needed, what's off, what has to happen next. But ask what you want, and something in you just sort of hesitates. You're not used to the question being about you. And the other side of that, the need for pleasure, doesn't go away just because you've stopped paying attention to it, right? Like, you can feel that pull. This need for relief and joy, connection, rest, aliveness, it's not going anywhere. So your body keeps asking. And instead of being taught that those things come from within, You've been handed these substitutes. Have a glass of wine. Here, buy this thing. Oh, scroll a little longer. Book the thing. Achieve the next thing. And those things work for a minute, for an evening, until the buzz wears off and the new thing loses its shine, and you're right back to that same feeling. Call it like this low hum of something missing. That question underneath everything, is this it? And hunger is real, the longing is real, and none of that is wrong. What's missing is the understanding that what you're looking for isn't outside of you. It's a relationship with yourself that you've slowly been talked out of. It's a relationship with your own desire, your own pleasure, and your own aliveness. And we've spent decades teaching women how to be useful and literally no time teaching them how to access their own desire and aliveness. I want to make this concrete. I think we can talk about desire going underground in the abstract, and it sounds true, but it doesn't really land, right? So let me just tell you what this looks like. It looks like the woman who's been saying, I'm going to take those dance classes, and she's been saying it for 3 years. So someday when things slow down, when the kids are older, when work eases up, someday keeps moving and the dance classes never happen. And it's not because she doesn't want to, she just doesn't have time. It looks like the woman who has an entire folder of saved travel articles. I'm sure the Pinterest board is beautiful. She knows every restaurant she wants to go to when she's in that city. She knows every neighborhood that's there and which ones to be in and the best time of year to go. She's been researching the trip for 2 years and she's never booked it because something always needs more of her. It looks like the woman who genuinely cannot answer what to do for fun. Not because her life is joyless, not because she's not fun, but because somewhere along the way, fun stopped feeling like something she was allowed to prioritize. Everything else has to be scheduled. Her pleasure gets what's left over, and there's rarely anything left over. It looks like the woman at the end of the day who pours a glass of wine, not because she particularly wants it, but because it's the one signal she has that her day is finally done, or she can exhale. That something, just those few minutes even, belong to her. The reaching makes so much sense. I want to be clear about that. It makes complete sense. When you've been running on empty for long enough, you are going to reach for what delivers relief fastest. But the relief doesn't fill up what's actually empty. It's just obviously numbing it. And then your life force starts leaking, your pleasure is flattening. The things that used to like call to you, stop calling. You used to feel pulled towards things. You were curious about your own life. You were excited about what was next. And before you know it, all of this just gone quiet. You don't even know what you want anymore. And you think, this is just life. This is what it's like to be here now. And I think it's desire gone dormant. In midlife, this is not necessarily, I think it is helping, but it doesn't feel like it because everything is shifting at once. I was talking about like kids needing you. Suddenly they're needing you less. And your careers may be peaking or pivoting. Your body's changing in ways nobody warned you about. The roles that you've been organized around your identity, it's starting to loosen a little bit. The performance that held everything together is starting to cost like a little more than it returns. And underneath all that, there's this burning, this appetite that doesn't know what it's hungry for. It's a sense of something tapping you on the shoulder, no matter how busy you stay. This is why I'm like, midlife, like it's actually, this is a good thing you're feeling, even though it feels really uncomfortable. This is the time when we're kind of panicking a little bit, and that feeling causes us to want to reach harder for another program, another goal, another reason to stay busy enough not to feel it. But I really want you to consider something, that this feeling isn't the problem. That burning, that like unnamed appetite that you have, this restlessness you can't outrun, that is your eros. That is your desire coming back online. The part of you that has been trying to get your attention for years finally is loud enough to be heard. And this is such good news, right? Your life force didn't go anywhere. It's just been waiting for you to stop long enough to feel it again and redirect it. So I want to leave you with something, and I don't think this gets said enough. Pleasure is not an indulgence. It's not a reward. It's not something you have to earn after everything else is handled. Pleasure is information. It's your body pointing towards life. It's what nourishes you. It's what lights you up. It's what your life force is actually made of to move you toward all the things that delight you. We're talking conversations, music, a meal, a morning that feels like yours. These aren't frivolous things. They're signals. And it's one of the most honest signals you have. So imagine you woke up tomorrow and pleasure was your baseline. Not something you squeezed in after everyone else left and everybody else is taken care of. You just wake up, it's all yours, and that's your starting point. What would you see? How would you feel in your body? What would you do with the first hour of the morning if it belonged entirely to you? And if you could direct your life force towards anything you actually wanted, where would you send it? If you don't know yet, those questions even feel overwhelming. I get it. That's okay. Start smaller. What lights you up? What turns you on to your own life? Think back to a time you felt it, even briefly. Like maybe it was a trip you took, a conversation that went on too long and you never wanted it to end, a project you got lost in, the morning you woke up and felt genuinely glad to be there or here. That's the feeling I'm talking about. Not a memory, the feeling, and it's a signal. Your desire hasn't disappeared. It's just gone underground. In midlife, as uncomfortable and let's just say disorienting as it can feel, is the invitation to hear it again. The part of you that wants more, like more pleasure, more aliveness, more you, more whatever word fits, that part isn't asking too much. She's just been waiting for you to stop looking outside yourself. So I want you to think about those questions. You can send me your answers. You can put them in the comments, but consider them a prompt. You can just meditate on them this week and do nothing else. You don't have to say anything to me about it, actually. So I just want you to know the things that you desire in there. You've been told to focus on everything outside of you. That's not your fault. That's just the world we're living in. But this is a time for you to look inward and find out what it is that you desire, because the answers are within you. All right, I hope you have a beautiful day.